Most horror games try to scare you. Cry of Fear tries to understand you. Released in 2013, Cry of Fear follows a young man named Simon wandering through an empty city filled with disturbing creatures. But beneath the horror, the game tells a much darker story. A story of isolation, anxiety, and depression. Through its level design, mechanics, and narrative, Cry of Fear doesn't just show you these struggles, it makes you experience them. And that's what makes it one of the most disturbing horror games I've ever played. To cover isolation, we first have to understand the definition of isolation and what it means. Isolation refers to being alone or separated from others, whether physically, socially, or conceptually. It can describe solitude, detachment, or separation in medical, psychological, or social context. Throughout the city of Cry of Fear, everything feels almost empty. Aside from the creatures that wander the streets, there are almost no other people in the game, just Simon and his thoughts. The game is filled with many long, quiet sections that make you question yourself. Where did everybody go? Why am I alone? What is this place? The city feels completely deserted of life. Simon moves throughout the entire game almost entirely by himself, and at times, it almost feels like the whole world exists only around him. But this isn't just a design choice. The world of Cry of Fear doesn't feel abandoned by accident. It feels abandoned because that's how Simon feels. Depression often creates a deep sense of disconnection from the world around you. When someone feels completely isolated, the world itself can begin to feel distant and empty. Simon is trapped inside a world of his own mind, and the lonely environment of Cry of Fear becomes a visual representation of his own emotional isolation from reality. Anxiety. Anxiety is the constant expectation that something bad is about to happen, or the actual definition. Anxiety is a future-oriented emotional state characterized by apprehension, worry, and physical tension in a response to perceived threats or uncertainty. Anxiety in Cry of Fear isn't shown only through Simon's mindset. It's built directly into the gameplay itself. One of the first things the player notices is how Simon has extremely limited inventory space. For most of the game, you can only carry about 6 items at once. Later on, that number drops just to 3. This forces the player to constantly make stressful decisions. Do I keep this weapon? Do I take this healing item instead? What if I need this later? The game constantly puts you in situations where you feel like you might be making the wrong choice, and that uncertainty creates a constant layer of stress while playing. Cry of Fear also uses many sudden enemy attacks to recreate the unpredictability of anxiety. Enemies often appear without warning, bursting out from dark corners, or attacking when the player feels morally safe. These moments aren't just meant to scare the player. They create a constant sense that something could go wrong at any moment. Even when nothing is happening, the player is still waiting for the next attack. The lighting system in the game also plays a huge role in building tension. Some areas are brightly lit, making the player feel temporarily safe. Others are almost completely dark, forcing you to rely on your flashlight and making every corner feel threatening. One of the best examples of this is the Harbor College. When the player first explores the building, the power is on. The hallways are lit. There are no enemies, and everything feels strangely calm. But when you remove the fuse from the fuse box, everything changes. The entire building goes dark, and suddenly, enemies begin attacking from the shadows. The school that once felt safe instantly becomes dangerous, forcing the player into a strange state of panic and uncertainty. Moments like this are used throughout Cry of Fear to keep the player in a constant state of tension. The monsters in Cry of Fear aren't just obstacles placed in the game to make it more difficult. Their real purpose is much deeper than that. Almost every creature in the game represents something about Simon himself, either his physical condition, his mental state, or the thoughts that haunt him. If you look closely at the enemies in Cry of Fear, you'll notice something strange about their designs. Many of them look distorted, but also strangely human. Their bodies are twisted, broken, or unnatural, but they still resemble people. That's intentional. These monsters don't feel like creatures invading Simon's world. They feel like things created by it. Instead of representing external threats, they act more like physical manifestations of Simon's internal struggles, his intrusive thoughts, his self-hatred, and the trauma he carries with him. Take the Crawler, for example. The crawler is a type of enemy in Cryfear that moves by dragging itself across the ground, unable to properly stand or walk. Its legs appear broken and useless, forcing it to move in a slow and disturbing way. This mirrors Simon's own physical condition after the events, as he refers to as the Black Day, where he loses the ability to use the lower half of his body. In this way, the crawler becomes a disturbing reflection of Simon himself, a reminder of the injury that permanently changed his life. But some enemies in the game represent something much darker. One of the most disturbing examples is the Hanger. As the name suggests, the Hanger symbolizes Simon's self-deletion thoughts, his desires to remove himself from the world entirely. The enemy's design makes his symbolism hard to ignore, and the location where it appears adds another layer to its meaning. You see, the Hanger is only encountered in the forest area of the game. Forests are often portrayed as vast, empty, and isolated spaces, places far away from people. In this sense, the environment itself reinforces the idea of complete loneliness, making it the perfect setting for the darkest parts of Simon's mind to appear. Enemies like the Crawler and the Hanger are just two examples, but throughout Cryfear, nearly every single creature the player or Simon encounters reflects some aspect of Simon's physical pain, mental suffering, or emotional trauma. The monsters aren't random, they're reflections. If these monsters are reflections of Simon's pain, trauma, and intrusive thoughts, then the horror of Cryfear isn't coming from the outside world. It's coming from Simon himself. To understand why the world looks the way it does, we first need to understand Simon, because Simon isn't just the main character of Cryfear. He is the entire world of the game. In the real world, Simon suffers from severe depression, anxiety, and PTSD, but the version of the events we see throughout the game isn't entirely reality. What we are experiencing is Simon's mind, a distorted reflection of the trauma that shaped his life, the rejection. One of the most important moments in Simon's past involves a girl named Sophie. Simon had feelings for her for a long time. In one of the memories we see in the game, Simon meets Sophie on a rooftop and finally tells her how he feels. He admits that he always liked her, that he thought she was one of the prettiest girls at school. Sophie gently rejects him. In Simon's memory, he tries to brush it off like it didn't really matter, but in reality, it was much harsher. In the real version of events, Simon didn't take the rejection so calmly. After confessing his feelings, he breaks down completely. He begs her not to leave, telling her how much he loves her, but Sophie still walks away. After this moment, Simon heads home. On the way, he notices a homeless man asking for help. Simon tries to help him, but when he turns around, two bright headlights appear in front of him. Everything goes black. This moment becomes what Simon refers to as the Black Day, the day that changed his life forever. The accident leaves Simon permanently paralyzed from the waist down. In a single moment, he loses not only the girl he loved, but also his ability to walk. The combination of rejection, trauma, and physical disability sends Simon into an even deeper spiral of depression. Eventually, Simon begins seeing a doctor named Dr. Purnell. As part of a form of cognitive therapy, the doctor gives Simon a notebook and encourages him to write down his thoughts and feelings. And this is where the true horror of Cryfear begins. Everything we experience throughout the game, the monsters, the blood, the empty cities, the constant violence, all of it comes from Simon's writing. The world of Cryfear isn't a real place. It's what's inside Simon's mind. Every enemy represents his pain. Every dark hallway reflects his isolation. Every moment of fear comes from the thoughts he poured into his notebook. This is why the world feels so empty, why nobody seems to be around, why Simon never seems to have an answer for what's happening. Because the entire world is built from his trauma. Cryfear isn't really about escaping monsters. It's about escaping your own mind. And that's exactly why Cryfear feels so different from other horror games, because it doesn't make you feel like you're exploring a world. It feels like you're exploring someone. Most horror games create fear through monsters, jump scares, or intense moments, but Cryfear creates fear through something much quieter. It creates discomfort through realism, the emotions in the game, the loneliness, the anxiety, the constant tension. They don't feel exaggerated. They feel almost grounded and real. The empty streets just don't feel like level designs. They feel like isolation. The constant pressure doesn't just feel like gameplay. It feels like anxiety. And the monsters don't just feel like enemies. they feel like thoughts. That's what makes Cry Fear so personal. It doesn't just show you what Simon is going through, it puts you in it. You're forced to walk through his fears, his memories, his pain, and by the time you reach the end of the game, it doesn't feel like you've beaten something. It feels like you experienced something. And part of what makes that experience feel so real is how the game was made. Cry Fear wasn't created by some massive studio or big corporation. It was made by a small team, and that honestly shows in every part of it. There's rawness to the way it presents its themes. Nothing feels overly polished or artificial. And because of that, the emotions it conveys feel more genuine and more relatable. But yeah, guys, that's the video. I just wanted to finish it by saying how much this game meant to me. This game was so beautiful. It had so much lore. Just everything about the game was it was life-changing. It changed my life. I'm being so for real. It did. It made me perceive things different. I don't know if that sounds weird, but it's just the game was so well written. From Simon to Dr. Brunel to Sophie. Well, we don't like Sophie, but it's good. But just seeing how everything was a construct in Simon's head, and then us slowly going on saying this can't happen in real life, what's going on, and then realizing flashbacks, this can't, this is just his imagination. It was beautiful. I know I keep saying it, but I recommend, if you haven't already, which I'm pretty sure you have, but if you haven't, please download this game, bro. Play it and then play it and then play it and then just keep playing it. This Cry Fear was so good. But yeah, that's my video. Hope you guys enjoyed it.